So they brought me a lifetime that was very appropriate, or a very good match for that intention to meet that low vibration of fear. And it wasn't this lifetime, it was like an immediately preceding life. I remember reviewing that life, reviewing a detailed plan of that life, and then accepting that life, and then accepting what we call the veil, which is just a word, but it means the constraints in consciousness space that consciousness wears, adopts, takes on in order to have the physical experience. So the way I experienced it was like a plummet in vibration, down, 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 lower, 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 all the way down, lower, lower, lower. It's like I like to describe, if you take like a pitch producing device, like a sound amplifier, and it's making a high pitch, and then you turn down the knob, and then when you get to the bottom, you turn it down some more, and then more, and then more, and more, more, and then crank it down some more, 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 more. That's what it felt like in the body of my awareness vibrationally, to plummet down, 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 down into this incarnated state. And as that happened, all of my knowing disappeared. All of my knowing was cut off, and my memory, and like it felt like I lost all that I am. And so I arrived at this place that was so low vibration, so dark, so limited, that within moments I responded in fear. I was like, I am not doing this. There's no way that I'm going to tolerate a lifetime of this. So I summoned my might, my strength, and I fought my way out. I pushed my way out past the veil. And I was successful in doing that. I immediately became aware that I had killed the body that was to be mine, the fetus, before it had even been born. And I had a life review for that very, very short life. And I could see how my fear had impacted the mother by heaping grief upon her. And not only the mother, but I could see, like ripples in a pond, hundreds of other people whose lives were made more difficult because of my fear. And it was like, see, from that side, that it's okay. Like there's nothing truly wrong. It's just a play. But I could see very objectively, like, oh man, like I got a lot of fear. I got to do something about this. So I maintained the intention to engage this fear, and I spent some time in what I've called a veil acceptance simulator. I know, I know this sounds kind of wild, but there's like a room where you go, and they put a mock veil over you, and you practice surrendering to it. Metaphorically, it was like being dunked underneath the dark water of a swimming pool, and then holding your breath and seeing how long you can hold your breath, and then you can cry uncle if you want to get out, and they'll let you out. So I did that for a while to practice allowing sufficiently so that I wouldn't repeat this, this, I don't want to use the word failure, but repeat this event of canceling and ending a life prematurely. So then after a while, they brought me this life as Christian. And I remember reviewing this life in incredible detail. I remember reviewing what I can only describe as like a flow chart, a huge flow chart that had millions and millions and millions of possibilities of how the life might actualize. So it's like if you took a tree and laid it on its side and started at the thick part of the trunk and worked your way out to the branches, it was like that. And there were events in it, but it wasn't focused on, physical earthly events. It was more focused on what it would be like to be me, what it would be like to have the actual experience from the vantage point of Christian, the human, being Christian. And I could see that certain things were more likely and certain things were less likely. And I could see that it was very likely that a trauma would arise in my 20s that would crush me and give me the chance to re-experience this fear that I came to experience. And I was very excited. Even though, when that happened here in my life, it did actualize. I had a traumatic health experience in Chengdu, China, and it took me years to recover. I had post-traumatic stress, and worked through that over years of counseling. So I do not make light of the depth of the difficulty and the rigor of the challenge that we might actually experience here. But from that perspective, I could see the opportunity. Like the opportunity was just astronomically huge. if I could meet this experience and really process that fear, really integrate that experience, really bring love into it, really find joy and peace, even here, even in the midst of that vibrational location, I just knew that it would enable a profound expansion of not only myself, but the whole, because I'm a part of the whole, and the whole actually learns too. Maybe learn is a bad word. The whole, there's an expansive process happening. And I knew that by integrating this fear, I was participating not only in my personal expansion, but the expansion of all that is. And I was so excited. And I remember asking questions about the life. I made certain requests. Like, for instance, I remember knowing that I had been intelligent in recent lives. And I asked if I could do that again, if I could be intelligent. And they said, yes, you could do that. And I knew that it would be important that I be male in this life. So, not that men have any, it's just different qualities of being. The masculine and the feminine energy is just a different angle. And I just knew that the masculine angle had there was some use for that in order for me to meet this fear. And I also knew that my father in this lifetime would instill confidence in me, and that he would really like keep me very strong in that area of confidence, so that that wouldn't be an issue. I knew that that would be helpful, so that I would have a rock to stand on, so to speak, to meet the fear, and that my mother would be very loving. And so, okay, so then I remember there having to be a moment to say yes, and I don't remember that moment, but I do remember being in like this waiting area, and then this guide coming to me all of a sudden, like, go now, like grabbing my attention as if he grabbed my shoulders and just like, gave me a really mighty shove. And I'm like, oh, okay, now, like, you got to get on earth time now, kind of thing. And then being in this room that I can only describe as a mechanics shop, or like a technician's chamber. And it was like this circular room over the earth. I could see a shaft below me, and the earth was below. And there were these beings there that I can only describe as technicians or tinkerers. Tinkerer is probably a good English word for like the feeling of them. And they're these very mechanically skilled, you could say, energetic mechanics, skilled in that way for applying the veil. Like they're like veil technicians or something. And I remember being over this shaft and them asking me, are you sure? You want to do this? Because I knew once I said yes, I knew I was strapped in. I was in for the ride, like getting on a roller coaster, like you can't get off until the roller coaster comes to a complete stop, that kind of a thing. And I said yes. And then I remember that plummet in vibration, down, 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 lower, 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 even lower, more, 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 lower, 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 once again. But this time, I just focused on not fighting it. It was just, I was focused on surrendering to the veil and letting it take hold of me and letting it do what it would do. And then after a while, being in this place that I can only describe like the vacuum of space, in the womb, like it's just so dense and dark and obscured. And I remember from that place sending one message back to the technicians: did it take? Did the veil take? And then getting one message back: yes. And I felt really accomplished, actually, because I knew that even making it to the physical, even achieving the vibrational state of being physical, was an accomplishment. And I was like, okay, I'm here. And it was like, oh, that's what's wonderful. But then after not too long, my fear began to arise once again, because I was so limited. This place, it was so dark. My knowing was cut off. It felt like I had lost all that I am. And so I began once again to summon my might, my strength, to fight my way out and reject the experience once again. As I did that, the most holy moment in my entire earthly life happened. The spirit of God, what we call God, the source, the that which is beyond all description, the profound, powerful, potent I am of all, came to me and expanded me back out. And I felt all of the universe within me. I felt all the galaxies, all the stars. I felt them all within my body. I felt all that I am. And I felt our sun, Earth's sun, and I felt its churning bliss. I had this like raging bliss is the word I would describe, just like fiery bliss. And God said to me, "This is still what you are. You can never not be this."
To watch the full video, click the link below, and I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel.